righty, knuckleheads. We're here in official Studio Y.
What's going on?
Got Cowboy Ken here. Hold on. Jack Black, what do you have to say?
It says it on the door. It's official studio.
All right, let's get back to being serious here. That didn't go as smooth as I wanted it to, but heck, whatever it does. All right. So, we're starting a new show. I don't know if it's going to be every week or not, but we'll see how this goes. Ken, you can let me know if we're streaming. Oh, we must be good. How are we sounding? Sharon, welcome in. We got Lone Cowboy Adventures on today, and we're going to find out a little bit about him first so you guys get a background of how Lone Cowboy Adventures got to who he is today. So we're going to do that first, and then we might open up discussion board, and I think the sky's the limit. Ken, what do you think?
Oh yeah, just about anything goes. What do you think?
I think so. Let's just hit it all out, and maybe again, I'm sure we have some stories of knuckleheads growing up, and we'll add those into the broadcast too, and just tomfoolery that we might have done, or what our opinion is on stuff, and joke around a little bit.
Like I told you before, you can ask me anything you want.
Yeah.
I'll either answer it or go tell you to kick rocks with flip-flops on.
We'll start waiting for people to find us since we started. It's only 1 p.m. right now, and then we'll get into your story. But really sorry about your pup the other day, Ken. I know that's a hard thing that you had to do, and I've been there, done that, and it's a hard one. But
right. It's always hard.
Yeah, but them furry friends are very, very special to us, and
yep.
Apologize. Kansas Misfits here. Hi. Okay.
Can they hear me okay?
Yeah, they're saying the audio is great. So if not, holler at us and let us know. Now, I don't know how far back the chats are for me either, so we'll just have to deal with that.
Right.
Now, we're going to start, what I kind of want to start out with is like, we're both getting older. Let's just put it that way, right? Let's not sugarcoat it here, right? And I think, we both, back in our day, probably tore it up a little bit,
Oh yeah.
Got on it. And now we're old. The younger kids are taking over, right? We're just trying to get through life now, have a little bit of fun, but we're not trying to tackle the world today is what I'm getting at. And so we like to reminisce more. Us older guys, all we got left now is, we kind of reminisce about the good old days and the stupid stuff we did back in the day. So we can make that a little bit of what this show is a little bit about, like the stupid stuff we did back in the day. I'm going to get out to some pictures here. Let's give it a look. Good morning, Ann. Little Frenchie's here. Hi, David. So we're getting some people in here. That's good. So we'll get out to some pictures of you back in your heyday, And again, people don't know. Like, we go to these meetups and stuff like that. They're just like, it's just this, me. I mean, a lot of people think you're cool, Ken. And, you're not getting the, whatever. You have a presence about yourself. Let's just put it this way. Whenever I would go out to the bars, I had a friend like you, right? All the girls just went straight over to you, and I'm sitting there. I got to work it, man. I got to do something to get the attention of the ladies. I don't think you had that problem, but
no, I pretty much sat back and watched,
Yeah. They came to you. They gravitated. I had to do something stupid, maybe, or just keep asking. Like I asked, and then Debbie, my wife, I was like, Debbie, you want to dance? And I guess nobody else was around. She's like, yeah, sure. I was like, really? Okay. I didn't act that way then. I was like, yeah,
right.
But that being said, let's get out to some pictures now that everybody's jumping in. Here we go. All right. We got, I say this is man shit right here. You know, let's just be honest. You know, the guy is run that bull is all muscle right there. I don't know which bull that is, but that bull looks nasty mean. But this is Ken riding on a bull, and yeah, I don't see any helmet. I don't see any vest. These were the good old days, right, Ken?
Yeah, yeah. That was actually at the Jesse James Days Rodeo up here in Kearney, Missouri, and I was roommates with 3 other guys. I think at one point we had 4 guys in the house, but or 4 other roommates, but I showed calves back in 4-H in my growing up days, and one of my friends that I was working with, he rode saddle bronc, and I said, I says I'd like to try the bull riding thing. So he took me to a rodeo contractor, and he had a bucking machine, and jumped on the bucking machine, and those are even harder on your body
Yeah,
than actually riding a bull. So after I got on the bucking machine, I was kind of hooked. And I'm an adrenaline junkie kind of, and yeah, I did it for about 2 years, I think it was, in the MRCA URA division,
nice.
and it was a really good time. I didn't really go anywhere, but just the camaraderie behind the shoots, in the shoots, getting on,
Yeah.
in the adrenaline rush. Even if I watch it on TV, I still feel like I'm right there. You
Well,
know,
that's just like whenever we were younger. I was younger. You know, I rode motorcycles, quad runners. Uh, you know, whenever I went skiing, it had to be full bore, on the edge of being out of control. And that you get that feeling like, and then whenever you're gonna wipe out, right? Oh, this might not end well. I might be
right?
in a lot of pain after, but that feeling for that split second while you're going through the air or something like that, going, oh no, and then you kind of hurt, but you're like, I think I'm okay.
Yep, yep.
I think if you haven't done that in life, I think you're missing out, and I can't imagine that. Boy, I think I would be petrified to get on that thing because I would be going, oh my god, they're gonna kick you in the face, stomp you on the chest. I mean, whatever it is, it really might not turn out. So I
About
can imagine.
14, about 14 years ago, I I got my card again, and I went up to a town just north of here and got back on without hadn't been on a bull for 10, 12 years.
Hmm.
And I actually covered him like 7.8 seconds,
Of
and
course.
I was like, I'm hooked again, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went to a practice pen and got on another bull, and this bull was just he was rank. And I came down on my back, and I look up, and I see hooves coming down towards me, and I'm wearing my vest, and I roll over on my stomach, and I crawled, and he hit me here and here.
Oh
My
gosh.
vest came open, and I just lost all my breath, and I said, "I'm done."
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what happened was that I bruised my ribs and my back, and the doc says, you should have broke a couple of ribs instead of bruising, because bruising your ribs is even harder than, you know,
Yeah.
breaking them."
Well,
So,
my
yeah.
my knees is what went out on me. Like, I got on one of those three wheelers. After riding my quad runner and everything. Just got on a three wheeler, was dorking around, barely put my foot down. This is after I blew out my knee before, right? But I just barely put my leg down to stabilize a little bit. And, I was in pain again for 2 months. So I was like, okay, enough of the quad running, enough of ski, anything. I got to work for a living now. So,
Right.
the
Yep.
kids, I got instant kids with Deb. So that kind of
Right.
changed my perspective. Like, I got to be able to go to work every day. And
Yep.
yeah, that was a lot of fun, but I got to
I
be
went from
responsible.
I went from bulls to four wheelers, and I had a Yamaha Warrior, and then I went to a Yamaha Banshee, which the
The
Banshee is a
bands.
two
Yeah, yeah,
stroke.
yeah, yeah.
Go down to Oklahoma to the little Sahara sand dunes all once a year and ride down there and just have a blast. And that was more of another adrenaline rush.
Yeah. Well, whenever I was I had the 230 quad sport. It's 4-stroke. It had like I thought it was in the day it was a pretty cool quad, and then I was riding it around, and it literally had no travel or suspension. I didn't realize that until I got on a Banshee. The
Oh
Banshee's
yeah.
going over top of the moguls like an air ride machine. I'm like, good God. By the end of the day, I'm beat up, and my friend's like, and then I got on his, and I'm like, holy crap, you don't even feel nothing with the
Uh-uh.
Banshee or whatever. So
No.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Pulled the front tires right off the ground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's get out to some more pictures here. We got so here's some of your buddies. I bet they have some stories to tell about you, right?
Yeah, the guy on the far right, he was the one that rode Saddle Bronc, and then that's his brother next to him, and then I think the one on the left, that's Billy. He was a really really good bull rider back in the day, and I don't know what he's doing now. I'm sure he's got a wife and kids now, but it was always a good time. Did
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of praying behind the chutes, you know.
yeah, 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 yeah. I'm sure this was a practical joke or two played
Oh
back
yeah,
in the day, and
oh yeah.
all that. And oh, what was I gonna say? I had a good question for you about. I'll think about it in a little. But yeah, like you said, the camaraderie is
Oh
to
yeah.
die. I mean, all the time. Whenever I was in the military and everything, just going out with the guys and laughing. And then somebody always did something stupid. It was always funny as long as it was somebody else, that was doing something stupid or
Oh yeah.
whatever. But I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys, like, if you got tossed real fast, they're like, well, that wasn't too good.
Yeah.
But
It
what
was
is it?
funny because the 2 guys on the right are brothers. They would drive to rodeos in a Ford Festiva,
Oh, shit.
one of them little dinky
Yeah.
cars, you know?
Yeah.
"You
Yeah.
know, we
Yeah.
had a truck at the house." He says, "Well, gas is cheap," you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
here's these 2 guys with this little blue Ford Festiva with cowboy hats,
Getting
and a
out with
saddle on
chaps
the back.
on.
Yeah. We'd always make fun of them, they look like a
Yeah.
little clown car.
Yeah. Well, there ain't nothing wrong. Hey, whenever you ride a bull, you can pull off getting out of Fiesta, right? Am I
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
nobody's gonna
right.
listen.
Yep.
Most people, and we'll get into this. I'll ask you a little bit of your younger ages, but anybody that grew up bucking hay, the square bills, they might not look strong, but they're insanely strong.
Oh,
They could just toy around with you with one arm because their whole core from bailing all summer long is. So yeah, you didn't mess with farmers, even if they didn't look that big. They could still romp you around like nothing. All right,
right. Oh, yeah.
and here you are back up on
Yep.
your horse. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Did you ever know an alfalfa Feddersen?
No.
Okay, I didn't. He
Nope.
might have been Bronx instead of Bulls, and I don't
Right.
know what division or what he was doing, but he did it for a long time too. He's here
Mhm.
from El Reno, so Alfalfa Feddersen. He was a guy now. So up on your horse, and last but not least, your sidekick now, Miss
Oh,
Linda,
yeah. That's
and
Linda.
you guys just got off of your trip and had a rip roaring good time, and
We had a real good time. Yep.
she seems like a great person to be your companion, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
All
we
right.
had a really good time. I I couldn't ask for a better traveling companion,
Oh,
we're planning on going to Florida in May, hopefully they'll have everything cleaned up, but, you know, I feel bad for the people down there, but planning on going to the Keys next year. So,
all right. Well, the Keys. I mean, again, Islamorada, Robbie's Marina.
right.
Whenever you get in front of the
Yep, yep.
camera,
Wait a minute.
well, even if we're not live at the time, me and Debbie will jump in here and we'll videotape us waving to you on the pier. That's
There you
that's gonna
go.
have if you get to Robbie's. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I don't know if you went out of your way to just come down to see us, but
No, huh? Not at all.
big
You'll have to get a hold of Ned and he could show us where that's at.
yeah, 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 yeah. Ned can maybe go with you.
I don't know
I
if I have enough room for Ned.
I got to get him up to your place one day to help out in the barn one of
Oh
these days.
yeah. Yeah.
But
Mm.
all right, now getting back to your younger year, were you always country? Like, did you grow up in the country, or is it something that you just came upon later on in life?
It was kind of, I grew up on both sides of the fence. You know, uh, we have a family farm right outside the small town that I was growing up at the time, and I could ride my bike out to the farm, every day, take care of my calves, whatnot. Mom and I lived in town, and then uh, after a while, we had to move up into the city, which was only 20 miles,
Yeah,
at an older age. So, and I'd still help out on the farm. Gosh, I think I was driving a pickup when I was probably 10, driving a tractor when I was 10, 11 years old, you know. Dad would put me on the tractor out in the cornfield or whatever, and disc and harrogate. They we did no till wasn't even heard of back then, where they didn't even till the ground. That we did everything. I'd spend about 10, 12 hours a day on a tractor, just a little guy, you know, and so yeah, and then I think I was probably 13, 14 years old, ninth grade. We moved up into town, and I got to meet. That's how I met a lot of people growing up. Was moving, and yeah, I don't regret any of it. I got to experience a lot, partied a lot. You know,
yeah,
I was very rebellious, and so yeah, like I said, I listen to. I mean, my music is all over the place. Country, rock and roll, hard rock, doesn't matter. I'll listen to everything, especially when I'm driving truck. I'll listen to a lot of rock and roll if I'm listening to anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it just depends what you like. You know, my heyday was more '80s,
Right.
maybe very last year's the '70s, '80s. So even though I I like the music, I can sit there and listen to it, and it brings you back to a day, a time or a memory that every song you were somewhere,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, there's some songs out there that it'll come on and it'll instant memory, and I can smell the smells, you know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I always say, whenever I would be fueling up my satellite truck, if a cow truck, pulled in right beside me,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
immediately back in the barn milk. Worked one summer on a dairy farm, so
Right.
as soon as that pulls up, I smell that. I'm like, I'm in that barn.
Right.
That it was a great smell. I mean, a lot of people be like, "Ooh, that smells," and I'm just like, man, I'm loving that smell. I'm back, and they always had a cheap AM radio going,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
little red, one speaker just hanging on like a coat
Yep.
hanger or something up in the corner, and they would be playing music because the cows liked it. I think it
Oh, yeah.
made put them to ease or whatever. But
Yep. In
those are
my
good.
4-H calves, when we had them in the barn in the wintertime, we'd always have a radio going to get used to the noise,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
and even in the dairy barns, same thing. And it's weird because dairy farms have a different smell than a regular farm, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we
Well,
had cattle and hogs and stuff like that, growing up, but
yeah,
it was just weird because I would go to a friend's house that they did dairy, and it was just a different smell.
yeah. Well, I was the limer. I was on crap patrol. I would scoop the crap out or lime it before they came in, and then scoop the crap, lime
Right.
it, and then I would get up in the top of the barn and start dropping hay down, and then putting it in their troughs
Oh yeah.
to feed them and stuff. So that was a
Yep.
lot of fun. I mean, again, boy, it made me not want to be a farmer at a young age. But now
Right.
I think of it now, and I can understand why the older farmers enjoyed it. But you
Yeah.
you just work there, and you could never get out and see the ladies or anything. I mean, I was
Right.
12, so it didn't really matter. But I knew whenever I got older, I was like, yeah, no, 7 days a week working, yeah, I'll go do something else for a while.
You learned what hard work was at a young age too.
Boy, you
Both.
respect and you respect the farmers. And I always said, if I went to war, I want I would want a ton of farmers in my patrol
And
because
there was back in the day,
yeah,
you
a
know.
lot of hey, farmers join the military to get a
Right.
vacation. That's
Yep. Yep.
they're like they wanted to
My
see.
uncle, I got an uncle that they milk cows twice a day, and he got into it with my grandfather. This is a story I was told, and he peeled out the driveway in the pickup and didn't come back for a couple of days and came back and said he enlisted in the Navy. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of especially back in the old days, in the 40s, 50s, people that joined they were like in World War II going, man, this is easy,
Yeah.
I'm a, that it didn't bother them a bit to be away from home. And again, they're used to working 24 sun up, sun down, so they
Yep.
were perfectly fit. But you can weld, you can fix mechanically anything. You're usually good at improvising too. Like you're not, if you're gonna do something, like you could strategize together. Like, yeah, that they expect us to come this way, let's go that way, or something like that. I'm just
Right.
saying,
Right.
farmers are some of the smartest people on the planet. They get no respect because they think, oh, they're just farmers, but they know how to do more than anybody else on the planet.
Very patriotic too. They were it
Absolutely.
was an honor back then to go fight for your country,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
So I got that out of the way. We talked a little bit about so you weren't. I was saying I was about 15 miles out of Pittsburgh, but I was in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, which used to be all farmland. So I could go
right.
a half mile and be on a farm, or 15 miles and be dead in the middle of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I kind of say I was street smart and country smart because I grew up right on the edge of
Mhm.
both. So my one friend, he ended up moving into the city, so I went to see him a lot. And you just act different in the city, and then you don't really say hi to many people. You don't make eye contact because people think you're, but it's just a totally different world being in the city and then coming out to the country where you say hi to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
but
I
I
was in
think,
Pittsburgh one time when I was a
oh yeah,
kid, went with a youth group over there,
okay,
and I remember the tram going down the hill. You had to jump on one of those trams that took you down the hill on rails, and then there was all kinds of stuff down there at the bottom. There was shopping or something. I don't remember very well. I know we had to take a bus over there, and we volunteered or something. I don't remember, but it was a good time.
let me just check over in the chats real fast here. We got Kansas Misfit, welcome in. I'm sure you've been here a while. We're Colleen from Jamaica is in here. Cheryl Callahan is in, and Anne, I already mentioned her. Now, what we're trying to do here is I want to talk without interruption for a while, and then we'll go over and see if there's any questions or anything like that over on in the chats, and that way we can just keep this moving. I know a lot of lives are formatted to just interact solely with, but we only have tens and tens of people. So we can look
Right.
over right now and be able to see if anybody has any questions for Ken. And but in the meantime, I just want to keep the ball
Right. Right.
rolling.
Yep.
Now I'm trying to think of any other. What
Well,
do you
let's
have a
talk about
good? What's that?
how we met.
Oh yeah, okay, all right. So me and Deb
What'd
are
you
outside the hotel. Just I don't know if we were gonna just walk back over to our hotel and get another drink or something like that. Come back, and Ken pulls up on his motorcycle, and he's all in his leather gear, just looking like the most badass motorcycle guy on the planet. And we're like, hey, and I, welcome, what's your channel? And you had just started your channel, I think, and you mentioned it, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I go, this is a great place, man. You're gonna love it here. The people are super nice. I mean, everybody here, just have fun, go around and mingle, and people will treat you like they already know you and stuff like that. I go, and you're like, okay, I've never been to one of these before, and you were all But what I heard later on is I guess you looked like Danielle from the Crockers, Danielle's dad, and so well nobody knew that, but I guess uh, Jason and them were like thought you were at first, at first glance you were him. So I
Right.
guess you two looked pretty darn close. So I know that's an ongoing joke, but we had a
Right.
really really good time. You didn't stay too long because you had to drive back.
Right.
Uh,
I was
so, but
actually pretty nervous walking in there because I had never been there,
yeah,
and like I did there before you and I talked, I kind of stood back a
yeah,
little ways and just kind of looked around.
assessing this situation. I like to
Right.
do that too. You just kind of want to listen to people talk, and then once you hear the vibe, then whatever you're gonna say isn't gonna offend anybody or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm kind of glad we were there first, maybe to just say, hey, just let loose and just have a little bit of fun, calm down. Everybody's gonna love you, and
You and I
like,
talked for quite a while.
yeah, we sat out
It,
there for a good.
it kind of set me at ease.
Well, good. I was glad, and that was Debbie hadn't uh, partaken in too many drinks yet, so she was
Right.
pretty coherent. She didn't want to go to the casino yet. Let's
Right.
put it that
Right.
way. But yeah, Debbie had a good time there. Too much good time, but
Oh yeah.
okay, we got Deborah Speecher. I don't know if I'm
A Spiker.
Spike. Okay.
She's the one that sent me my first piece of mail in my post office box.
Oh, that's
So
that's kind of cool. We over on ours, we I thought at first, oh, maybe we can get this ball rolling and it'll
mm,
help with retirement, right? This whole YouTube thing. And then I found out I was old. So I was like, so this show and two old people on a couch, we do it for mainly fun. We don't
right.
want people to really send out a gift to us. Our address is there or whatever.
Right.
But if you want to send something, you can, and it sure is appreciated whenever you
Right.
get. I'm in here, little Frenchie, and they've sent us T-shirts. Jake from Nunya, Texas, on the back 20, sent us stuff, mugs and stuff like that. That's fine. I just don't send us any money
Right.
or hellaciously expensive gifts, or else we'll feel guilty. But it's cool, isn't it? It's really nice whenever somebody sends you something personal.
Oh,
It's like we might have tens and tens of people watching, but we got the best tens and tens of people on the planet, bar none,
right.
that
Oh,
watch us.
yep. I need to tell Deborah, I'm still waiting on a couple things yet. Now I'll get something back to you. So
Well,
I mentioned that in one of my videos there a couple of videos ago. So
Deborah kind of let me down today because she went to work. She knew we were doing this. Maybe she did that. She was supposed to jump in the chat. I might have put her over in the corner studio over here, so she could interject if somebody said something, or now and
did she
then.
take Karen with her?
What's that?
Did she take Karen with her?
Yeah, Karen's with her. Fred's here though. Fred's up in the booth. He was saying, I'm not going to miss Lone Cowboy Adventures. He's up in the booth. He might have started drinking earlier today, but he's
Right.
here. So he says, yeah, he says hello,
I
Ken.
don't even know if Miss Linda's watching. She might have went back to the store
They're
again. I haven't seen any comments from her. I don't know. Maybe they're chatting on the phone or something.
Now, again, this is our first show, and we're going to try to do this. I don't know what schedule like. We'll start doing these, and maybe we'll swap it over, and Ken will host it on his channel. But over here, we can get a little political about things going on in the world. I don't know if anybody caught our other show is two old people on a couch, but the other day it was funny. Did you see the UPS clothing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, these young kids are not going to wear UPS gear. I was like, who's their marketing genius over there, right? I was like, and they got all these young ethnic people, posing in UPS clothing. Now it's hipper
Right.
clothing than their uniform, but I just don't see that taking off. Do you, Ken?
Give them some sleeveless shirts and cowboy hats You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
See if they wear those, right?
I was
They're
saying
not gonna wear it.
I was saying for us, I mean, maybe the older generation, so I was saying to everybody, hey, listen, UPS, younger people aren't going to, but, if you come out with some older people gear and have some old, old crotchety guys like us going, yeah, UPS is cool, or something like that. So we're going to start a kick where me and Ken are going to keep on constantly telling UPS shouldn't they sponsor us, Ken?
Yeah, I
And
think they
we'll
should.
I don't have the pictures loaded up, or else I'd show you some of the pictures of the. But it was funny on Facebook. They advertised to me on Facebook UPS gear with all these young models and stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but we'll do stuff like that. We'll get some more pictures up like that in future shows. I'll set up a timeline of some current news going on, and we'll get your perspective of
Oh
what
yeah,
you think is going on. You have a great insight because you are in the transportation industry. Getting product from place to place. So I'm sure you're in the know a little bit more. How is it, by the way, truck wise? Are they hiring more people, or are they laying off people, or is it kind of stagnant right now? The
it's kind
same.
of steady right now, but you just mentioned UPS advertising, but the company I drive for has been advertising on the Face deal platform,
Okay.
and I've been seeing ads all over the place, but we do have a driving school and a refresher school for guys that have their CDLs but haven't driven for a while. And as far as I know, we're still hiring. What the problem is getting trucks. And supposedly we've got 14 tractors that are supposed to be coming into our terminal, but it's the manufacturing of the trucks to get them here is what's delayed, and part of that's parts. Uh, the truck that I am assigned, the tie rod, it needs tie rod ends. I can't drive down the road with the wheel doing
No.
this,
Yeah.
not
That's
moving,
yeah.
so
That's not
it
good.
needs tie rod ends, and they're on back order.
Oh
It's
my.
the national back order until November supposedly, so.
That's
And the
crazy.
shop manager told me, he says the Freightliners are wearing out the front ends and the Kenworths are wearing out their rear ends.
Well,
So
maybe just chop them in half and
yeah, weld them together, But
it's
we're busy, I've been
yeah.
there 28 years, and I, you know, I mean, it's steady.
Well, good,
So
good. Well, that's good. Yeah, parts seem to be the issue. The other thing I got, and I've discussed this with Ryan, the other brother, and some of the other truckers. And whenever I did it, it's the pollution control crap is it what breaks down the most. I
right.
mean, I've been in limp mode so many times because of stupid DEF fluid or departiculate filter clogging up. Oh my gosh, if you got that stuff off of the trucks, you'd be in the shop 80% less time at
Yep.
least,
Yep.
and it's a nightmare. And if
When
I had
they
my own.
started all the EGR stuff and environmental stuff on diesel pickups in 2000, and even before that, when they went through all the stuff, for the EPA. I mean, we had trucks with check engine lights on, derating going down the road, or
Yeah,
I think one
it's
year we even
dangerous.
had trucks blowing rods or knocking a hole in the side of the block because they couldn't regulate everything correctly on the diesel. So
I think it's
it was a mess.
limp mode is dangerous as all get up. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going down the highway and you're in crowd, and then all of a sudden you can only do 50 mile an
Yep.
hour or something like that. It's completely dangerous. It's more dangerous than anything else they've ever added to a truck. Speaking of trucks, have you heard about the new Ford electric uh, truck? I believe it's the Ford, not the Chevy, but Ford has a new electric truck, and this guy on YouTube uh, took it for a test to see what it could do. So he strapped his old Model T on a trailer, and he hooked it to the electric, Ford, and literally, I don't know, he was only able to do like 30, 40 mile an hour. and then the thing only went 20 to 30 miles, and then the battery was dead. That was
Yep.
the range of the dang thing. And these people are thinking, 18 wheelers and everything are going to go electric.
Yep.
It's an epic fail, but the commercials make it out to be this awesome thing, but road tested with a load and everything. And most people, let's put it this way, the farmers especially, they are hauling heavy loads. It's not gonna. I can't even imagine an 18 wheeler being electric. I can't. Doesn't even comprehend how stupid that is.
One of the biggest things right now is driverless trucks.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there's a company down in Arizona or someplace that has driverless trucks, or they call it they can also call it platooning, where a driver drives the first truck and then there's two other trucks behind him following
Oh, okay. Well,
down the interstate.
that makes a little bit more sense because
Yeah.
I can't. You know how if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the lines in a construction zone, some are scribbled out, some are good, but they're all. I'm confused. I'm like, which one is the real lane I'm supposed to be in right now in this construction area? There's no way. I don't care how many sensors you have on those trucks, they won't be able to figure out which lane is
Yep.
and they're just gonna smash into another car on beside. I think we're years away from even attempting that, unless they had like sensors in the road itself.
Well, yeah, they got a little radar up on the windshield and it senses the lines on the road
Well,
and for drifting back and forth. But there again, what if the lines are disappearing, you know?
yeah, or
So,
you know, I've been up in on 70 going through the snow up there. You can't even see the road, let alone anything else.
right, right.
All right, let's see. Dave is a trucker. Let's see what CFI has been buying all kinds of, yeah, probably all kind of trucks. Probably maybe if you can get parts, or they might be hoarding some parts. I would think maybe these days, like if you can get one, you're just like, better order three of those, and get three of them in.
We've got a trailer manufacturer down in Arkansas that the company owns, and I think it was 4,700 pups that they're putting out this year on the road. So,
Let's see. Ken has Colleen says she has what's his brother. They call him Ken he's Kenrick, but they call him Ken for short. And Miss Linda's watching. She's better than my wife. Mine ditched me. Let's see. I should send you more garlic. Oh, well, there you go. Deborah says she might send you some more garlic. And
well,
then
Halloween's coming up.
Stumatic Gaming said, "Howdy, neighbor." Oh, that's my okay. That's my neighbor. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, that's your neighbor. I'm like, wait a second. I just gave he's a good kid. I gave him a bike the other day.
Oh yeah.
It was funny because I said you can have it whenever you come up, turn 18 and get $500.
Right.
So he finally came over, like I say, like that My Cousin Vinny movie.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he goes, when do we fight? He says, I'll kick your ass whenever you get me $500, right? Well, he walked over just the same way. He's got it in, rolled up. He's like, I got your $500. And I said, well, it's your lucky day. You get it, free. Well, $1. We sold it to him for $1. So, and it was his dad's bike prior. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah, so I found it fitting to get it back into.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
definitely.
He had a good buddy. Got the carbs. I had always been able to start it, but the carbs got too gummed up on it.
Right.
So we slipped.
Cleaned out.
He had a buddy that actually knew what he was doing good and cleaned up the carbs and all the jets real good. Ran the little metal through them and everything. And
cool.
Man, the first time, as soon as they put it back on that bike, first try, like without the choke or anything. Whoa.
Right.
So he's been driving that around, having a good time.
Good.
And I'm trying to think can you think of any good knucklehead moments in your life that you are like, Oh my gosh, that was stupid or anything like that through your younger, wilder years?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot.
Ones that you can uh, say on YouTube. I don't know. No, I don't.
My
There.
mother, you know, it all started with bicycles,
Hmm.
and, my buddy and I used to set up a ramp in the backyard, and I'll never forget it. We had a little kitchen window where my mother could look out back, and the ramp would always be set up behind the garage so she could she'd see us flying in the air, you know,
Just the air part.
and then we would measure where we would land, by the
Yep, yep,
back
yep.
tire. Well, I had a Schwinn Scrambler, and it had a little slick on the back, wide slick, because we lived up on top of a hill by the river. And uh, couple of times you missed the seat coming down. You know what I'm saying?
Just FYI right now, Jason has joined the party. He says, "What's up, you two old farts?" Basically, what we're doing right now, Jason, is we're telling stories. Because you guys look at us old people and are like, they're not cool.
They're not
They're,
fun.
but they do think you're cool. I mean, let's be honest. Ken is cool. I'm just an old short dude. That had his heyday, but you know. So we're just going over some stories of what we did as knuckleheads back in the
Oh my
day.
god.
We jumped bikes too. We had Tonka toys, right? The metal Tonka trucks and
Yep.
cars and stuff. And of course, Evil Knievel was the rage at the time, right? So we would line up our Tonka. We'd put as many Tonka cars that we had, and then jump them. And I always put the VW Beetle last because I thought if I come down on it, it's like a ramp.
Right.
I
Oh
don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
That's your stupid mentality
Yep.
as a kid. Like
Yep.
if I come down a little early, it's got the round off back. I don't know. So we jump those. One of my other knucklehead times is big wheels were huge back in the day. The little plastic bike, the tricycles,
Oh yeah.
and you had that brake. You hit the brake and you
Yep.
spin out, right?
Oh, yep.
So me and my buddy Mark, we were on his street, and Mark was crazy. So one of the younger kids were riding their big wheel down the hill and then spinning out at the bottom. So he got his BB gun. This is totally dangerous. I don't recommend it for anybody, right? And he would only put like 3 pumps in that, BB gun. And we were kind of hidden behind these bushes watching him do this. He goes, "Watch this," and he wants to hit the wheel. He was plucking the wheel of
Right.
while it's moving, right? Trying to. That's a hard shot, right? But he got the kid right in the. It didn't break skin, but he got the kid right on the thigh, and that
Oh
kid
wow.
pulled the brake. Man, he goes spinning out. He's like, "Something bit me! Something bit me!" He's running around like a madman, saying somebody bit me. And I was like, I don't know. That
Oh yeah.
I remember that. I remember we had a rope swing in the woods, and in Pennsylvania. I mean, these hills are steep, right? And this thing was high up, man. And you got out there and you just went, and you went down. You kind of followed the slope of the hill forever, and
Oh
then you
yeah.
just went out into way out there, like
Yep.
way above everything, and then come back. Well, over the years, like before it broke, and that was a devastating day. The bottom of the vine got real smooth, like it was like from everybody grabbing it. And I guess I had sweaty palms, and I'm hanging on. I'm starting to slip down that thing. Eat,
Oh no.
eat.
Road burden.
Oh my god! Until I got like almost out to like the epic, to but
Right.
still a lot of motion going forward. And I just remember slipping off that thing, and the trees are just going by me, and I'm going down this valley just to, like. Luckily, I didn't hurt myself, and stuff like that. Just fun rip roaring times, growing up that we can,
It's
reminisce.
crazy as kids, we think about how we swung on the swings, at the parks and how tall they were and jumping off at the very end, and then flying about 10 feet in the air and landing on it. and then you see the playgrounds today, how safe they are.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Crazy how you think about, and even the metal slides and the
Yeah.
small grounds, how hot they were. You didn't want to go down them in shorts, that's for
No,
sure.
no. Well, I grew up. I went to a small first, second, and third grade was an old farm school, like a
Right.
six room farm school,
Oh
and
wow.
they had one of the metal slides. I got a picture of all of us, kind of like all on it, in the
Right.
wintertime taking a picture, and
Yep.
but you know, there was one idiot every year that somehow fell off the side of. I don't even know how it's possible. I mean, you have to be pretty,
Right.
but there's one kid that could always pull off falling off the edge of it and breaking their arm. It was always a broken arm too. It's like, and they're got a cast on and stuff. But yeah, we
Last time
just
I was on a slide was up here at the burger joint with my grandson, and it was one of those plastic tornado slides.
yeah.
I was squeezed in like this, going down the slide behind him.
But yeah, they were tall. They were
Yeah,
tall. Monkey bars. Holy cow, monkey bars were insanely tall
yeah.
and easily could break your arm on one of them, climb around them. And but then they would have like a bar that goes across, to another monkey bar thing, and you
Mhm.
way up there just toying
Always,
around.
always get on top and try and walk across the rungs.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. The How about the moon one? The moon one like that, the monkey bar. I always like to walk over and
Yep,
down
yep,
those, but it's a different world. We had a lot of,
uh,
no electronics, just full blown out. And
yep.
what little electronics we had, I always make fun of because you get like a robot at Christmas, right? And then you'd
Yeah,
slap
yeah.
like 8 D cell batteries in that thing, right? It would go across the floor once, and you're already like, Ma, I need 8 more D cell batteries. The parents, and they're expensive, and they're like, only the
And
rich kids could,
yep,
run their robot for more than one day past Christmas.
yep. I remember getting my Atari. My mother got me an
Hmm.
Atari for Christmas, and back then that was the thing to get. And now you look at the gaming systems now, it's like I'm confused.
Uh, I just mashed the buttons
Right.
like
Yeah.
that. My son would whip my ass, and then I was like, I only had one button and a joystick. I said, but
Right.
yeah, it took me a while to get an Atari. I remember going over to the neighbor was richer kid. He had the Atari first. And we just lived over at his house, and he got
Right.
he got cable first, right? He had MTV, and we'd go running. We'd get back off school
Oh
and
my
go running
gosh.
over to his house to watch MTV for the latest videos that were out and stuff like that. But
I'd go home and crank up open the windows and crank up the stereo because it would be like an hour and a half, 2 hours before my mother would get home, and I'd put the
oh,
Van Halen
I
cassette
love Van Halen.
in there and jam out, and stuff, and we had a neighbor that she would kind of keep an eye on the house and stuff when I come home from school, make sure I wasn't causing any mischief, But she had a terrace. You mentioned the hill, but she had a terrace in her yard, and we jump our bikes off the terrace just going through her yard to go down to the Dairy Queen, and she ended up putting string across it, but we'd just go right through the string till my mother told me to got on me.
Yeah, no, it's a different world nowadays. Let's see. David's laughing. Channel is full of knucklehead moments. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we're trying to say. Knuckleheads. And that's what we're trying to promote our channel around. So, Jason, I think I lived in the last generation of kids who played outside. Yeah, I'd say I'm 57. How old are you? You can. You can give a ballpark if you don't want to.
I'm in my 50s.
All right, I'm in my 50s too, so we probably grew up just about the same uh, generation. But man, can you imagine if people had cameras nowadays? I mean,
Oh
we
my god.
wouldn't act anyway the way we did back then.
Yeah, back then, if everybody had a video camera, I mean,
Good.
I actually had one of those big ones, that I was bull riding
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
put the VHS in
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but all my tapes got burned up in a barn fire a couple years ago. So And but yeah, I mean, I'd be in trouble all the time if everybody, if I had a
Oh,
camera on me.
yeah, everybody at the bar
Ground-
have a camera. Oh my goodness.
Grounded for life.
Yeah, yeah. No. And then these kids, like, what's sad is the people that are actually doing the bad stuff are the ones, you know, shooting it and then Debbie has a rule like, man, if you're going to do something illegal, don't videotape it, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah,
but
exactly.
but nowadays, I mean, shoot, there's security cameras, everybody's got cameras. You can't get away with hardly anything
Camera in
nowadays.
my truck,
Yeah, yeah.
facing me and facing out front.
Yeah.
And I always run a dash cam for myself, you know, that way I have a copy of an incident, if something were to happen to cover my tail.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should have been switching cameras this whole time. Like whenever you talk, I could go like this, and then you could.
Oh, that's all right.
Nah, I get
Don't see the
sidetracked.
ugly face.
Well, see, if Fred wasn't so drunk, he's our producer.
I'm talking to you.
Well, but I don't want to give him control over the show, or else, But I could go full to me. We can do
Yeah.
that. So we can go out to you, or we can go down here. Now, right now I have pictures set up, but
Yeah.
later on we can
Right
do.
there for a minute.
The only problem I'm getting right now is I want to do phone-ins. I really do. But the problem is now with you being a guest, right? You
Right.
have to hear, but all I can select is like my mic instead of, the output of OBS. So you
Right.
can't hear. So I got to figure out a way that I can throw like headphones over a mic, another mic
Right.
that I can select on
Mhm.
so that you can hear the other people in the call in and everything. And once I figured that out, I just ran out of time. That I was like pushing my luck. I'm like, do I want to try a couple things now until they mess this whole thing up, or do I want to wait until after this show and build it from that? So we will get phone ins. I like to also get the video, and
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody's watched the 8:30 lives on Two Old People on the Couch. I I didn't. You were busy that day, so and understandably. But I was like, now you're set up. Now
Right.
all you have to do is just sit down and do what you're doing right there, and boom, you're right in.
Yep.
And but it's pretty cool. We got a barcode, right? We'll get
Yep.
on this show. We'll get a barcode set up. All you got to do is point your camera to it. It'll take you to a website. Say, okay, go to that website, and then it's pretty simple, isn't it, Ken? It's just a
Right.
couple
Oh
of
yeah.
steps, and boom, you're in. So next week,
Good signal, right?
yeah, this whole week I will try to figure out how to just handle. Now, if OBS just had, we call it in an industry mix minus. So whenever you watch the reporter out at like the hurricane and stuff, they're getting the questions from the station in their ear
Mhm.
from a cell phone. They call into the station, it goes into their ear. It's every audio, but they have an aux on, minus their audio from the station coming back, or else they hear themselves delayed and it freaks them out. If you ever see a reporter just rip that earpiece out, they didn't set it up right. He's hearing himself and it's throwing him off. He can't with a delay, so he has to pull it out to be able to talk normal. Then I'll
Like
stick
what
it back.
we did the setup.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll mess you up. So what I got to do is figure out how to get all the audio from my computer back out to you, minus yourself, or you'll be like trying
Right.
to trying to talk, and it'll just freak you on out. So yeah, David, Fred's up here. He went out to the VFW last night. I told him about the show. This is an important show, Fred. I need you focused, and he started drinking early today. He's like, well, you're 1 p.m. Dude, I'm already halfway lit, he says by then. So Fred's, he's a good producer, though. I mean, he's my buddy. I mean, you got to stay loyal to the people that come around.
Back in the day, we didn't get up till after 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, Dave.
I know. Two old people on the couch. We do our lives at 8:30. It's like just watch the a lot
Right.
of like we get like 15 people at a time in our live, and then later on there's like 100 people watch it, right? But
Right.
15 brave people are up at 8:30 in the morning that don't have stuff to do, like,
Right.
or are awake, so we're
We
like,
use I'm usually up by 4 o'clock. She gets up at 3, and I usually get up by between 4 and 5. And uh, after yesterday, I thought, well, maybe I'll sleep in, but I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, so
yeah,
you know, and I always look forward to a couple of channels in the morning because they do the coffee with the deal thing, and always look forward to them videos in the mornings because that's basically what I'm doing.
yeah. Well, I like to joke around. I say, me and Ken, we extensively sat there and looked at analytics and statistics and everything, and we said, boy, when's a good time to go live? 1 p.m. Central on Sunday. Like, there's no football going.
Right.
There's nothing going on at that
Well, like
time.
I said on my video, I said, there's only the good teams are playing late in the afternoon.
Right.
The other teams don't even pay attention
Playing.
to it. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
they'll be earlier in the day.
Well, the thing is we'll do our show live. I want to get a little bit more set up so people can call in or video in,
Yeah.
and we can get more interactive with our audience and let them participate that way more so than like the reading thing. Like, I'm trying to listen to you, and if
Right.
I'm down here trying to read, then I'm missing maybe what you say. So we're trying not to do too much of the answering back on. Luckily, we only have 3 that
Yeah.
are in
There's
the.
there's tens and tens of people in
How
here.
many how many people are in, Ken, if you're
10.
watching? There's 10. See, there we go. We hit
We're
our.
up to 14. So Danielle must have gone on to Jason about building a tiny house because
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
not
yeah,
in
yeah.
here now. So,
Well,
and then David he's pulling into Seagoville.
okay.
Is that right? I might not have my glasses on. Sorry.
Well, again, we don't. And again, if you watch the rebroadcast, watch us at 2 times speed for a better experience. Am I right, Ken?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
I just figured that out the other day.
oh yeah,
I
it's
you
pretty.
could do that.
Am I not better because I talk slow? I kind of draw out my words. I'm not as fast as a professional speaker. But if you step it up to 2 times speed, it's like, it's kind of
Yeah.
funnier too. I like
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
But
And Debbie's laugh when you watch it 2 times speed is just awesome.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, she's yeah. Or I always say whenever I do something with my hands, I'll be like, that'll look way cooler at 2 times. And like I'll
Right.
be like going along, and I'll be like this,
Oh
and I'll
yeah.
be like, and watch that at 2 times speed because it'll
Right.
be 10 times better.
Yep.
Now, it's probably not good for analytics to watch us at 2 times speed, but then again, I'm not doing it for
Oh
full
well.
time. We're not doing it for full time,
Yeah.
monetization or anything like
Right.
that. We're just having a lot of fun with it. So why waste your time? And we're coming up on
Yep.
1 hour, but this is a start. Now everybody knows Lone Cowboy Adventures that might not have known him and what his background is. So whenever we start talking about current events and stuff like that, you'll have a much better understanding of your background.
Right.
But
Yep.
I had
Like
a
I
whale
said to you
of
before, I don't watch the news. I get my news from you guys.
yeah. We try to hit it like you can watch good channels like Redacted and some other ones that give you in-depth detail of whatever's going on. But if you just want to get the news fast and with a little bit of funny sidekick on the side, then come
Right.
watch 2 old people on a couch. But
Yep.
if you want to get in depth on it, there's other channels out there. But we try to
Right.
add in a little humor. We send Ned all over the world as our reporter. We're gonna get him another credit card. Let him start traveling and starting to do news. He's been winging it on his own here lately. So
Did he pay off a school loan, or is he spending that money?
he's still trying to push for college beer debt forgiveness down in D.C. Let's see. I'll recap it before we go. Started in D.C. pushing for college beer debt forgiveness. He was over, Oh, Fred and him were over, setting the nuclear plant in Ukraine straight so it wouldn't blow up.
Right.
But then after Beard Deck Forgiveness, he hooked up with Hunter. They started selling some of the equipment that was going to Ukraine. They were intercepting it and selling it on the black market to the Arabs.
Right.
They started talking too much, so they dropped them off. They dropped them off on that island, deserted island, he thought. But then there was that 40-year-old woman that hadn't seen a man for 5 years, so it was going great until he told her he was on to like the 30th story. She got tired, put him on her private jet, flew him out. Now he's in some cabin in the woods and he's freezing.
Right.
There's snow and everything. So if anybody wants to watch a stupid show, go over to Two Old People on a Couch. If you like, Lone Cowboy Adventures does some of his trucking, some of his farming, some of, just a lot of, his daily activity. Highly recommend going over and watch. He's good, and you edited up a really good piece today. So go back, check out his last video. It's kind of a sad one, understandably, but looks like you're up in your game a little bit.
Yep.
It's starting to look really good.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the time with you, and I'm looking forward to the next show.
I'll get more structured. You write down a list of, start thinking of, things that are happening in the world and everything like that. I'll start writing down things that are happening. I want to get like, what's the wackiest thing you've seen in your truck? Have you seen any aliens? Have you seen anything in the sky driving all those mileages that just freaked you out or anything like that? Just stories like that. We'll
Right.
get those in the future.
Right.
And it'll be more of a structured,
Right.
topic.
Yep. That's
All
cool.
right. Anybody got? Let's see. I'm pulling up. We've got no more new questions going on, but I had a rip-roaring good time, Ken. Looking forward to next week, and of course, if you're busy or something like that,
Yeah, we can do it later on in the afternoon too.
right? And then
people get from their afternoon nap or something.
Then I'll get your OBS set up with the same format, and we'll do
Right.
if you want to. We'll throw every other one on mine, and then one's over there so you can get your watch hours and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll go with the flow. All right, well, everybody, enjoy your Sunday and the rest of the Sunday, and I appreciate you all jumping in, and have a good day, everybody.